We are live. I am talking.
Right on, right on.
Right on, right on. Goose, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Enjoying the sunshine here in beautiful Bottom, Texas.
It is a beautiful Bottom, Texas. The weather is being just glorious right now in Dallas. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I'm really digging it. This is my thing right here. Loving it. Just soaking up the sunshine by my stump.
Maybe that stump gives you power. You never know.
It gives me wisdom. It does. It's the stump of wisdom. I can stump anyone. Unlike Trump, who cannot be stumped.
Yesterday, I saw a comment that said, "You can't cuck. You can't make a cuck out of tuck.
Can't cuck the tuck.
Can't cuck
like
the
Tucker
tuck."
Carlson.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Now, tell me, everybody has so many questions about this case. Can you tell me and tell the people that are listening what exactly happened? How did this all come to be? Now, let me tell you what I think. Man, we got some unbelievable wind noise. But here's what I'm thinking happened. The guy was in a Twitter battle with this man, this
Kurt Eichenwald.
Just tell us what happened.
Okay, so basically in December of last year, this guy sent an animated GIF, which if you're not familiar, is just a little clip. This is a video clip. And it had a little strobe light in it, and it said, "You deserve a seizure for your post." And basically, Kurt Eichenwald is claiming that this caused him to have a seizure, and this guy, a few months later, ended up being arrested, and now he's out on bail. And that's where we are today. But there's a whole lot more details that a lot of people don't know that have been revealed to me through court documents and looking through the complaints and petitions and a couple of the rebuttals and indictment information. Yeah, I mean, there's just a whole ton of material out there on this that a lot of people aren't looking at, but it's not looking good for this guy.
Well, did he create... Now, I'm going to ask some questions that I already know the answer to, but it's to help everybody else. Did he create the GIF?
I don't know whether he did or he didn't. I don't think that he did. I think he found it through this plug-in on Twitter called Giphy, and he put it in the tweet. He didn't create the GIF itself, but he did create the tweet. So whether or not he created it, he did intentionally send it to
How
Kurt
long had
Eichenwald.
he been dealing... You're like a prospective juror. How long had he been dealing with this Kurt Eichenwald before this incident happened? And what was the banter back and forth between these two? And what started it?
As far as we know, that was like the first real occurrence of them having any kind of interaction with each other. He was just a troll using a sock account, and there really wasn't a prior history between him and Kurt Eichenwald that I know of, or anyone else knows of for that matter. But as far as we know, this has been going on for the past 3 or 4 months since the middle of December. I think it was December 17th that it occurred. And, basically he sent the GIF over to Kurt, and then somebody on Kurt's account, allegedly his wife, went on and said, "This is Kurt's wife. You just caused a seizure. I'm notifying police," or something to that effect. And from that point forward, Kurt ended up trying to subpoena Twitter, and the guy actually beat him. And, he had subpoenaed Twitter for the guy's information, and the guy filed a motion to quash it, and it actually worked. And he wasn't going to get his information from Twitter, but what ended up happening is the guy apologized to Kurt, and he said, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do." And he was very sincere in his apology. "I'm going to donate a set amount of money to this epilepsy foundation as an apology to you." And he donated money, and then Kurt Eichenwald went to the charity, the epilepsy charity, and got his name from them. And then that's how Kurt Eichenwald was able to get his information to the police.
It almost seems that Kirk Eichenwald had a vendetta against this person. Like, I mean, and I
Not
also,
necessarily him, but against the
world.
alt-right, for sure.
Yeah, and he keeps calling everybody Nazis. You're a Nazi. You're a Nazi. And I've read his
Right.
I've read his Twitter downline, and I've also gone to a place where you can find all of their tweet. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, somebody's knocking. Hi, buddy.
Do you want the windows and the AC on?
No, just close the windows for me, Angel. But leave the blinds up, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. It was my son. You know, here's the thing. When I was reading his Twitter downline and all of his tweets, he's pretty much an asshole to everybody, saying he's going to do this and he hopes that they do this and he hopes that they calls them all kinds of names and things along. He's kind of a bully himself. Would you agree to that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's using the law to bully someone right now. So, yeah, for sure. He's been using the law against people for a while. He's been using his journalism career at Newsweek to bully people. He's done that in the past with his own stepmother, of all people. He threatened her with his career in journalism. He said something to the effect of, I'm going to write something up on you, or blah, 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 blah. And I guess that made it into one of the court documents involving his stepmom.
I would
But
be willing to
he
bet.
ended up bullying and harassing her the entire time.
I would be willing to bet that somewhere in the haystack there is a mention to either the DA's office or the federal prosecutors that he is a senior writer for Newsweek, meaning he could go on there and say, I tried to do this with the Dallas DA's office and they turned me down and all this kind of stuff. I guarantee you there was some sort of a veiled threat made to somebody. I just do. I don't know why. I just do. I just think there is.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of that going on, for sure. You know, and you can see it in his face and the way he talks. He's very smug. And he's very proud of the fact that he's gotten someone jailed for trolling him on Twitter. He's not ashamed of that at all. Like there's no shame in the guy who's suing his own stepmother. That's not somebody who has any qualms about stabbing somebody in the back, even if it's their own family.
What proof do we have that he sued his stepmother?
Well, I went through the Dallas County court records, and you know, Kurt Eichenwald, you know, he's pretty competent at doxing, but I'm better. Okay, so when I found out this was going on, I pulled up the records I had on Kurt that I had for a few months now, and I found court documents, petitions, and complaints and stuff saying that he sued his stepmother, and there's mounds and mounds of evidence. I have about a dozen PDF files with court documents in them. I mean, it's like a book worth of reading. But yeah, there's information in there saying that he harassed her, he bullied her, he would call her on the phone and say she's a terrible person, and then the next day he'd call and say that he loved her. You know, it's just really bizarre behavior.
I think that any federal prosecutor or any state prosecutor that puts this idiot on the stand is going to blow the case.
Well, here's the thing. I think this information about his stepmother is important because it shows that he uses the law to go after people. He uses it maliciously as a way of retaliating against political enemies or whatever. You know, he goes after people that he feels have bullied him, using the law, using journalism, using whatever he possibly can, because you've seen him. He's not a very fit guy. He's been bullied his entire life.
I have a
So
feeling
this is his way of getting back at the people that, you know, supposedly held him down.
I have a feeling that the internet is going to turn not violently, but going to turn majorly against this creep, this asshole, Kurt Eichenwald.
Well, apparently the internet's already violent, considering that, you know, the Dallas court system is saying that an animated GIF is a deadly weapon. Did you know that?
I heard that, and I thought it was a freaking joke. A deadly...
That's the charge, assault with a deadly weapon.
Okay, now
and
what...
it's a hate crime, too.
Oh, my God. What proof do we have that he had the seizure?
All there was a medical examiner that said that that the gift would have caused a seizure. However, we don't even know if he's the type of epileptic to have seizures because of strobe light. That would be a photosensitive epileptic.
Right.
There's an actual name. I think it's like photologenic or something like that. But there's a specific kind of epilepsy where you have seizures from that.
But what
and
proof
it's
do we
funny
have?
because there's a function on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
There's a function on Twitter where you can turn off autoplay, and he actually had it turned off. So it's not as if if he opened it, it would just automatically start playing. He opened it.
There
was a play button on there.
There's holes in his case. There's holes in his case. I just know there is.
Yeah. Well, look, he opened the message. It said, "You deserve a seizure for your post." That's all he could see. And he clicks play on it. Come on, please. You're going to tell me a guy like that doesn't have common sense enough to know that, that's going to be a strobe light. And he was just sent one a few minutes prior. He was sent a gift by somebody else that was strobing, and when he found out what it was, he dropped his iPad, and that didn't cause a seizure. But later on, he got the message from Drew Goldstein or John Ravello, and that caused a seizure. You press play again.
I don't believe it.
You told me once, right?
If I was on the jury, I wouldn't believe it. And it has no feeling. It's nothing to do with my feelings about this guy or my feelings about any kind of soft trolling or anything like that. I just think the guy's lying. And I've read a lot of comments where a lot of people think he's full of shit.
Well, here's the problem on the other side of the case is the guy made an apology, right? And that's something you just never do. Yeah. Especially when the law is involved, the civil court or criminal court, making an apology is basically a confession of guilt. You're basically saying, "I'm guilty, I'm sorry," and then, after that, well, what's next? The sentencing.
I think there's reasons
so he's going to have a problem getting away from that.
I think there's reasons for apologies, Goose. I think that the guy might have thought maybe he sincerely felt bad that this guy did this. Maybe he didn't. I don't think there's any doubt that he sent the tweet, but intent is going to be very hard to prove unless there's something more to this.
There's a lot more in terms of intent because they found his direct messages on Twitter with his little group, and it doesn't look good. He's like saying, "Oh, I hope this guy has a seizure. I hope it kills him." Blah 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 blah. It's just not good at all. And being a troll, like I can kind of look at those and be like, I've said worse shit in chat rooms, and I wouldn't say that in real life, or mean it anyways, but the court isn't going to look at it that way. They're going to look at those direct messages and be like, oh, this guy really meant to give him a seizure. And, according to the direct messages, he did mean for him to have a seizure.
Is it going to mean anything that this guy's a Marine?
Not necessarily. It might mean something if he has documented mental illness. They said he has PTSD, but I don't know that you could have PTSD and it's not documented. Hopefully it's documented with the VA.
What is this going to do for the future of internet censorship? And what is this going to do? Don't you think this guy's being used as an example?
He's absolutely being used as an example. He's just like the Greg Allen Elliott case up in Canada, where the guy was not allowed to use the internet, not allowed to do anything, basically on house arrest for like 3 years and 2 months. And that was Greg Elliott up in Canada. I think this guy is basically the American equivalent of that.
Remind us
things
of what
went well for Greg Elliott, but
remind us of what he did. Remind us of what Greg Elliott did and what happened in that case.
Greg Elliott went after this feminist on Twitter. It was purely online, and they tried getting him for cyber harassment and stuff up there. They have different laws up there about that stuff, about harassment. Now, this guy, they're trying to say he committed aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, which is goofy. They're going to have to prove that an animated GIF is a deadly weapon, and they're going to have to prove that, I don't know. It's just disturbing. It's disturbing because now now, okay, so if I give somebody a heart attack with something I write, and I know they have a heart condition, now I'm going to be liable for that. Or let's say I know somebody has a heart condition, and you know those shock videos where like the skeleton girl jumps out and screams, ah,
Yes, I
like,
do.
and I send that to somebody with a heart condition. Now they're going to be able to sue me and put me in jail. It's just little shit like that we're going to be constantly in fear over now. So who knows?
What happened in the Greg Elliott? I mean, in the Elliott case in Canada. I know the laws were different, but still, there is some bleed over that they could use in that case. They could cite that case or something in the federal.
Yeah.
Was it a federal case?
Yeah, up in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That was a big one. And it lasted for over 3 years.
He was found not guilty, isn't that right?
Yep, he got out of it. It still destroyed him financially, and it's going to cost this guy a lot of money, too, to get out of this.
Is there a GoFundMe for this gentleman?
No, but there's something similar. It's on WeSearcher, and I can give you the link, and you can post that on your page if you'd like.
Yeah, give it to me.
But it's to raise money for his legal defense fund.
WeSearcher, okay. We as in you and I, we?
Yep.
.com?
Yep. I just texted it to you.
Oh, okay. / I'm going to put it in my Spreaker page.
Okay.
Where's my phone? What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. Yeah, I think that people will need to try to help this guy. I think, okay, when I listened to this guy talking on Tucker Carlson, I thought, what a prick he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seriously, what a
He's
prick.
a slime ball.
I mean, and I just don't think that that's going to look good on, where did you give it to me?
I texted it to you.
Oh, there it is. Tap to load preview.
On your phone.
Yeah, I got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I don't know. Seriously, is this going to have really grave consequences for the internet? Do you honestly think that this is really going to go huge?
I don't know. I do know that there's 2 really big legal firms that are behind this guy, and he's got a lot of public support, so that's good. But I don't know how well that's going to play out in the courtroom. Ultimately, that's where we're going to find out what free speech is. And I do think this is a big free speech issue that doesn't just affect the internet, but affects the First Amendment rights of everybody. So yeah, I think it's a big case. It's something to pay attention to for certain. It's seemingly small. It's very small circumstances where a guy sent a message to somebody, he didn't like it, supposedly had a seizure, but the consequences of it are huge. The guy's facing up to or more than 10 years because it's a so-called hate crime. So he's facing over 10 years in prison over this.
I just think it's bullshit. I don't know why. I just do. And I get these weird vibes about things, and I just think it's bullshit. I just do for some reason. I don't know why.
Yep.
There's
bullshit written all over it.
I just do. I don't know why. I just get this strange...
Well, Kurt Eichenwald's a known liar, too. He lied. He downloaded a whole bunch of child porn, like $3,000 worth of child porn, and he was an administrator on a child porn website. And he claims that it was because he was researching for Newsweek, but he never once told them about it the entire time.
Really?
His employers. Not until he got caught.
Sort of like when Bathtub Girl was doing cam whoring and saying that she was researching for an HBO documentary. Showtime documentary.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? And nobody bought that then.
Right.
Yeah, the indictment reads, John Rain Rivelo, here and after called defendant on or about the 15th day of December 2016 in the county of Dallas, the state of Texas, did then and there intentionally, knowingly, and recklessly cause bodily injury to Kurt Eichenwald, a disabled person?
He has epilepsy. It's a disability.
boy, they need to tear into that. If he better have a good lawyer. Hereinafter called complainant by inducing a seizure with an animated strobe image, knowing that the complainant was susceptible to seizures and that such animations are capable of causing seizures. See, they can beat this pre-trial by beating this. What we used to do in my firm, I'm not a lawyer, but I was a paralegal for a long time in criminal law.
Uh-huh.
They would give us these indictments and have us destroy them. For example, it says right here, knowing, wait a minute, where'd it go? Knowing that the complainant was susceptible to seizures and that such animations are capable of causing seizures. You have to know that right there, the wording in this indictment is really important in this case, because did he know that this was going to cause seizures? Did he know that? Because they're accusing him.
Yeah, and here's a big detail. The guy, when they went through his logs, they saw that he visited epilepsy.com, and he was researching all the ways to give people seizures, which is really bad. Like I said, it doesn't look good for him. How is he going to beat that? It's going to be really hard to defend against. I'm not saying it's impossible, but that's really difficult to defend against when there's evidence that he did research that and he did know that it could give somebody a seizure. You know.
He says the case involved a person who had cheated a Holocaust fund. He sounds like to me that, and this is my opinion, okay, that he plays the Jew card really loud.
And he says that he's not a Jew. He says he's an Episcopalian, you know. But whenever it's convenient, like in this case, he says it's because he's a Jew. And even in the court documents, he says that this guy was going after him because he was a Jew. Which is bullshit, because he said he's not a Jew. He said he's an Episcopalian.
You know what would be almost worth doing is some of the way he calls people scum, and I'm reading right here. He says, "So don't listen to scum," things along those lines. I think somebody should file a case against him for inciting depression or anxiety or something like that. I mean, come on, if we're going to do this, we need to do this. I mean, if he's going to play,
let's have a frivolous lawsuit against him.
Exactly.
You know?
Even if it is criminal, but it doesn't matter. It's still just a lawsuit.
Yeah, it is criminal to do that. But yeah, Deb, I really hope this goes well. I hope it doesn't go on for too long. Hopefully this guy can get back to his life. You know, it's so expensive doing this stuff, isn't it? The legal game, especially when you're on the defending side. And, you know, you didn't see this coming. Like, that's tough. You know, I don't imagine the guy's very rich or anything. So, you know, and apparently his dad bailed him out. But it's still, it costs a lot of money to
Here is a wonderful
go to trial and everything.
You retweeted, somebody said, a $100,000 bond for sending a gift to a pansy via tweets, yet we have death threats against the president. How can we trust anything the FBI does at this point?
Mm-hmm.
That's very true.
Yeah, it's the Department of Justice too. Yeah.
Wow.
Here's the thing: they have a big vendetta against the alt-right because they weren't able to arrest any so-called bona fide alt-right members. They all turned out to be like black people or, you know, the earth. Like in the case of those Jewish headstones that got overturned and pushed around up in Jersey. Yeah, it turned out it was just the ground moving. You know, it does that from time to time. And it causes gravestones to move around and stuff. You know, they've been sitting there for 100 years. Yeah, they move. But, all these hate crimes turned out to be bullshit. So they finally got a guy who they can charge with a hate crime. And it just happens to be John Rivolo. So.
I think the best thing we can do at this point to help something about this is to publish as much stuff as we can about this mullet, this mullet. You know what I mean? I mean, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. But
he wishes he had a mullet.
Yeah, he's an asshole. But, you know, like the way he
talks. Free Jew Goldstein.
Exactly. But your opinion at this point is he's pretty much fucked.
That's my assessment. Yeah. I wouldn't say that's my opinion. I'd say that's my assessment. My hope is that, you know, his legal team is good enough to get him out of it. But my educated opinion of this is that he is screwed. Yeah.
It's too
just
bad.
based on what I've read and the facts of the case. Yeah.
Kurt Eichenwald tweeted somebody having a seizure. Is that right?
Did he? I don't know.
I'm just
I
looking
hadn't
at the
heard of
Twitter
that.
feed right now. Now look, the memes that are being made about him, they're great.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm glad
Yeah,
you came
goober.
on to talk to us about it. Let me see if anybody's in there talking. Does anybody have a question before I let Goose off let him off the witness stand here? I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything that you knew, because I knew you were following the case pretty closely. And
Yeah, and I will be for some time until it's over.
I wonder what anybody else could do for, with somebody like that. Twitter had somebody put out a very vicious Twitter page about my daughter's little son one time, and I had the court actually ordered that to be taken down. I sent the court order to Twitter, and they denied it. Said it was free speech.
Oh, made by our mutual friend,
Yes.
Dr. Burpington.
Yeah, it's pretty vicious too. And
Yeah.
the court ordered it taken because, see, the other side, Heather's other side, her ex, brought that up in court, and the judge was showing pictures of it and stuff. She's like, what the fuck? And they thought that I had done that, and I thought, are you crazy? And I sent Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I sent Twitter an email telling them to take it down, and they told me to get fucked.
See, that's screwed up. They'll take other stuff down for, like, the most menial crap. Yeah.
And I said, this is about at the time, this was about a 3-year-old, and this, that. And they were like, no, it doesn't go against
Break the terms of service.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can read the email to you.
They're garbage. Yeah, garbage people.
Fuck Twitter.
Yeah, no common sense. Anyways, Deb, Free Jew Goldstein, spread that researcher link around on Twitter and Facebook and wherever you can.
I'll do it, Goose. Call at
Right
any
on.
time.
All right, Deb. I'll let you go.
Keep in touch.
Bye.
So there you go. He's fucked. But this guy is an asshole. He's an absolute. He is. That's not just me talking. That's a lot of other people saying it. He's a jerk. And even though he's probably going to win this and have this poor guy put behind bars. Maybe the guy deserves it. I don't know. Whatever. But Goose is right. He says free speech is fixing to die in the United States over this. And I believe he is playing the Jew card. I think the hate crime is ridiculous. I think the hate crime is crazy. It wasn't a hate crime just because he's a Jew. He's playing the Jew card. That's all he's doing. And I think that's dumb. So instead of pre-recording this, I just decided to go and put it on live, and I'll just keep it out there, and I'll replay it tonight for everybody. So this is Debbie saying over and out until I talk to you guys. Oh, I just went to Skype to sign off. Until I talk to you guys later on tonight, all right? Where's my desktop? There it is. All right, we'll see you guys later on tonight.